Hey guys, it's Caldy back here once again with another one of my Walking Dead video reviews, recaps and reviews. Sorry I'm late on this one. I'll be doing one for episode 2, then episode 3. But anyway, today my recap and review is going to be for season 4, episode number 2 of The Walking Dead: Infected. As always, please remember there are spoilers in this review. Um, as far as recaps and as far as the recap goes, and if you haven't seen this episode yet, and are trying to get caught up on season 4, get caught up with the series, please click away to one of my other videos or spoiler-free reviews. So anyway, with that, let's get started. Anyway, coming into this episode, last week we had uh, that surprise ending where Patrick basically fell over and died from a mysterious illness. He was sick in the episode. He went in the shower wheezing and just all in a cold sweat. Uh, anyway, as we start off with this episode, we see a scene that we saw in the previews, which is the person feeding the fence walkers, with feeding rats to the fence walkers. We don't know who this is yet, but I'll have some speculation later in this review, this video. Next, we see Tyrese and Karen uh, just having a common bond, a relationship. They're in a relationship, basically boyfriend and girlfriend. The just like the natural romance stuff, not like uh, physical relationship. Just uh, goofing around, just showing signs that they care for each other. But anyway, they decide to go to bed after that. Go to their separate respective spells. Karen it goes to the showers and finds nothing. These are the same showers that Patrick was in, and basically Patrick rises out of the shower. At this point in the episode, I was basically very tense because of the whole uh, scene where Patrick could at any point take out Karen. Um, anyway, Patrick follows back to the cell block. This is in cell block D, by the way. Patrick rises out after he notices her. But she's in her cell by the time Patrick makes it to her cell. But basically, we had a nasty walker kill, like a walker killing another person. Patrick hears the person coughing, and he goes by that cell, and basically he goes into the other room and he bites out someone's vocal cords so they can't scream. Like they wake up when he bites into their neck, and basically Patrick basically if there was ever an intelligent walker, it has to be Patrick. It's obviously because of his glasses. I'm just being funny. And so yeah, we have that whole. That's basically the intro of the episode. Uh, next we uh, so basically we get more Glenn and Maggie relationship building stuff. Uh, with some things he was just yeah basically Rick and Carl are basically uh, having relationship. Carl is in this episode. Carl is basically asking that if he can help clear out the fence and just asking for his gun back and all this stuff. Um, so Carl actually apologizes for actually asking his father to give him his gun back and take violence against the walkers. But um, so yeah, after that, some character development, dialogue type things. We get action. Anyway, as if you couldn't tell, there was the big attack inside the prison at cell block D. and basically, uh, it's basically like that. Um, and it's a big alert. Everything's crazy and chaos. Michonne's outside of the prison walls, and Carl and Maggie have to basically get Michonne through the gates. And it's kind of a problem, and Michonne gets hurt fending off walkers. I was thinking, why don't just take out your katana and slice them, because it was kind of obvious she went hand to hand with them and kind of fell on one of the traps. Uh, and basically, there's that whole thing. Uh, Back in Cell Block D, there's a whole bunch of people turning into walkers, attacks. There's people fending off walkers, people evacuating Cell Block D, and we have a character we've never seen before, Ryan Samuels. We saw him in the pilot, or not the pilot, but the first episode of season 1 for a brief moment in the library. Basically, Ryan Samuels has a bite on his arm, and he's taken back to his cell, and Carol's gonna amputate his arm, and we find out that he had been bitten on the neck. So he was a very sad death. Ryan Samuels, he's probably our main recognized death of the episode. Well, main one I'm gonna tell you about so far. That's actually in the context of the episode. But we have this whole attack. Ryan Samuels, his daughters Mizzy and Lizzie and Mika. Uh, Mika and Lizzie, Ryan Samuels' daughters. It's a very sad scene. I actually kind of shed a tear for him the first time I saw this episode. He was that was some pretty uh, that was a pretty emotional background character death. Uh, and after everything clears up and everything dies out, while they're investigating the area, uh, just searching the cells, recounting everyone that died, just checking through, and they realize that Patrick was the one that caused the attack on the cell block. They discover Charlie, who locked himself in his cell because he sleepwalked at night. They realize uh, he had died, and basically we find out that by that we have several new characters. Dr. S, he was basically providing exposition dialogue, actually in there. We hadn't seen him before, but it's great that new characters actually getting some time to actually talk about something that he's good at, which is being a doctor. Um, Basically, we learn out that he had no. That there was diseases. That we learned that there was a disease, flu going around. Basically, a flu going around the prison, and everyone's um, got it like it's an airborne virus, and it was spread by pigs and birds. And basically, Bob Stuckey, who's one of my favorite characters this season thus far. He doesn't really get his time to shine this episode, but I think we'll definitely see a lot more character development out of him. Um, some people are speculating that he is a traitor inside the prison, um, but so flew right, and basically this is a scene. Okay, back to the Ryan Samuels and Carol scene. Uh, Ryan realizes, since he has succumbed to the fact that he's going to die, he asks Carol to take care of Lizzie and Mika. This is a gateway scene. This is kind of like in the comics when uh, Alan asks, I forget who it was, Andrea, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Andrea. I haven't read that issue in a long time. I'm gonna go back through the comic series and read to see who it was. But anyway, uh, it's I think it's a parallel to that scene because Lizzie and Mika are Lizzie. She's really messed up. I personally think she's the one feeding the walkers. um, talking more about their character development. Basically, Lizzie wants to take care of Ryan, uh, but she doesn't have the bravery to put him down after he has died. Uh, and basically, Mika says she doesn't want to be in the room, but she's the least developed of the two sisters thus far. Um, and basically, there's that whole scene. Carol, she can't do it. Not Carol. Carol can do it. She's basically boss this season. Unless she's like the uh, Daryl version female or whatever that is comparison. Basically, the committee, which is Carol, Herschel, Daryl, Sasha, and Glenn, this season basically Rick's out of the. He's going to be Farmer Rick. Uh, since they have to contain this flu virus. They decide to put everyone in quarantine in cell block A, which is death row of the prison. Um, and after that eventual scene, they hear coughs outside of the room they're in, which is the library, and they find out that it is Karen, who's walking with Tyrese. Um, she's told she must be put in quarantine, and Tyrese is like, "Why can't I be with her?" Tyrese, he's definitely another one of my favorite characters this season. But Tyrese is really like, he's like, I want to protect her. I just met this woman, okay, and he's like, she basically that whole thing is happening. Karen mentions a background character, David, who is one of the fence cleaners at the beginning of the first episode. Um, is in there, and yeah, uh, after what happened at the gate with Carl and Michonne and everything like that, Michonne um, Michonne had to get taken back. Everyone's fine. Herschel and Glenn are fine and Herschel, Glenn, whatever. I'm just reading stuff off the Walking Dead wiki. Just going by scene. Um, and then we have a Beth and Michonne scene. Beth, Michonne, and Judith scene. Well, anyway, Beth is singing again. So, um, basically, Michonne says she, she's mad at a mistake that they shouldn't have saved her. Michonne says that, but uh, Beth tells her that's silly. Basically, that to give your life away or say someone that you didn't need their help. Um, but yeah, Beth and everything like that. Um, with the Judith thing, and here is the Michonne crying scene that everyone's talked about, over talked about. Um, basically, Michonne is talking to Beth as Judith. Michonne holds Judith while cleans up from baby throw up, and uh, Michonne just starts crying after staring at Judith, and that raises the question: did Michonne have a child before the apocalypse? Did she miscarry? Did was it just a reflection that she just like a reflection in her mind or something like that? It was yeah. We don't know much about her past life in the series. She rarely talks about her past. Yes, she talks to herself and about her boyfriend, the walkers that she took around. That's all we know. Um, and basically, back to the Carol and Lizzie scene. Carol, Lizzie, and Mika. They're standing by the gates, and then uh, Carol tells Lizzie that she is weak, and Lizzie, uh, Lizzie, Lizzie starts to cry about her Walker friend Nick that she named because of the fence cleaners, and basically Lizzie runs away, and Mika makes a statement. She's just weird in the head, like she's messed up or whatever. That she isn't weak, but messed up. That makes me really think that it's like a Ben and Billy parallel from the comics. Um, Basically, next position. Okay, a giant group of walkers are stacking up on the prison gates, and they're basically uh, pushing the fence down, and like even stabbing them through isn't causing problems. Like walkers are being literally squished against the fence. Uh, there are too many walkers, and Brick has an idea. This is gonna be probably the most controversial thing of this episode. Rick decides to get the piglets out of the pen, and he basically feeds them to the walkers to get them away from the fence. Yes, he should have done that because let me discuss about that. Uh, this certain scene, the whole thingy with this is that basically Rick he knew that the piglets they were a potential flu carrier and spreader, which basically could have they could have been sick. So when they grew up, they could have had defections or uh, things like that. And plus, there was walkers piling at the fence that could break through, and it would cause more chaos than they would need. And so basically, they did this as part of it, and they uh, basically. But this is a very emotional scene for Rick because he raised these piglets, and uh, that he it's a sign basically that the prison isn't going to work out like at its current state. It's not been working. It's just a sign that things have changed after their peace after the governor assault. um but basically then we have Carol giving Lizzie a knife, and that wasn't a very good move on their part. And then we see a Rick and Carl scene where Rick decides to give Carl back his gun. And in this time, this is kind of a controversial call. I don't know. Um, so we have Rick giving it back, showing a sign that he lost. And Carl, of course, tells on Carol about the zombie school, the zombie training with knives, and basically, Carl is continuing the road he's on to become the character he is in the comics. Well, he didn't start out that way. He started very much different in the comics, but in the TV series. Okay, enough on that point. But uh, we have the rest of it, and Carl is they're burning the fences, and Rick's basically, uh, yeah, Rick throws his shirt in the fire. That I don't understand the point. I'm just reading off of Walking Dead wiki, as I've stated before again. And then we have the last scene, the scene that will go down in infamy from this episode. Well, one of the many scenes from this episode. Um, um, we get Tyrese going to Karen to give her flowers because obviously they're lovebirds. But Tyrese is going to Karen's isolated cell in the tombs, which is under the prison from, if you remember from last season, where the governor tried to get into the prison. And as he goes into the prison, goes into that part, he goes to Karen's cell, and he looks at the floor. It looks like there was a struggle, and a bloody struggle at that. And it looks like there's blood on the floor. It looks, and David's cell is also that way. And he goes out to the courtyard, to the gym, courtyard, whatever you want to call it. And as he looks out into the courtyard, there are two burned bodies. And guess who these burned bodies are? Karen and David. Tyrese starts tearing up. It's the scene from the trailer where you see him looking at like he has that state of shock on his face. The state of obviously before we knew Karen and Tyrese were gonna be together. Uh, we thought it was Sasha, but obviously not now. It became apparent after last week's episode, after the premiere, there was probably going to be Karen, but Karen, yeah, the reason we know it's Karen and David is because they were the two mentioned, and Karen has her bracelet on that we saw earlier in the episode, and Tyrese. But anyway, I found this episode very good. That's wrapping up what I think about the episode. This was a very good and emotional episode. Um, it was just it was just a very good episode. It wasn't as good as uh, the season premiere though. The season premiere really was the calm before the storm. Um, yes, we had the introduction to the sickness, but it wasn't like it wasn't. We didn't really know most of the characters that died in the episode. We knew who Karen were. We basically only knew who Karen was. Um, as far as the survivors that died this episode. Yes, and I personally think the best character that died this episode was Ryan Samuels. Even though we didn't get a really lot of character development with him, his death I think made a purpose. Karen David and Ryan Samuels' death definitely played a purpose. Patrick, he was used as a plot line. I'm okay with that. But poor Zach though, going in the first episode, he had so much potential too. Um, but that's basically it was a very emotional episode with the people with the all the characters from uh, Steve Block possibly infected. There could be possible main characters infected. When's this disease gonna end? That's some of the questions raised by this episode. Who killed Karen and David? Which I already know since I've seen episode 3 and I will be talking about in the next review. Um, so we have that whole uh, thingy there. As yeah. Although this was a very good episode, it wasn't perfect. Like it felt very slow at points. Not slow, but some of the emotion was kind of faked over. Like some of it just didn't like the reason. It was a very emotional episode. Um, but it really felt like a second episode of a season. Like it wasn't entirely it wasn't amazing as far as uh, the plot was pretty good. It advanced the plot along. We learned of the sickness and everything. I'm trying to figure out what a final rating for the episode would be. Uh, I would definitely give it a um somewhere in between a 7.5. Yeah, let's give it a 7.7 out of 10. 7.5 is like the good thingy. I think 8 would be about great. 9 would be excellent. 10 would be, oh my gosh, just amazing episode. Okay, definitely it would be a 7.7 out of 10 as far as the episode. Also, let's remember the people that died this episode, whether they were known or not. 7 unnamed survivors, which were the others that were killed. We had Greg, who was the vocal cord zombie who got bit. We had Chloe, who was one of the fence cleaners and was the woman laying down up on the platform outside of Charlie's uh, cage or whatever. who had like the neck bite. We had Charlie, who was the guy locked in his thing. We had Patrick, who died. His zombified version died. We had Ryan Samuels, who was he's probably going to play an impact this season. He's definitely probably going to play an impact. The piglets, them poor piglets. David, obviously one of the fence cleaners, one of the newcomers over the season, and Karen from Woodbury, also Tyrese's girlfriend. And we know how Tyrese is going to react to this. We all know who, if you've ever read the comics, when anyone dies that he loves, well, we know certain people die with loves. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen anything else. But, um, yeah, uh, that's rest in peace to them. Uh, anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap and review. It wasn't so much a review, but a recap. I just hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe below. Follow me on Twitter at Aw3Aldi, where I can discuss Walking Dead with you and everything like that. Like my Facebook page down in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed this review. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.